The champion who trains when nobody's watching. The entrepreneur who solves problems in their sleep. The artist who forgets to eat because they're captured by the canvas. That's what we're talking about today. Being obsessed with winning. Not winning as the world defines it. Winning as you define it. What's the difference between interest and commitment? When you're interested, you do it only when circumstances permit. When you're committed, you accept no excuses, only results. Most people live in the land of interest. They're interested in success, financial freedom, extraordinary relationships. But they're not committed. They're not obsessed. Obsession gets a bad reputation. People hear obsessed and think unhealthy. But strategic obsession, being consumed by your vision for a specific season of life, is what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. Exceptional results require exceptional focus. Average input yields average output always. There are two types of pain. The pain of discipline and the pain of regret. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. Every morning when that alarm goes off, you choose. Will you feel the momentary pain of discipline? Or choose the momentary pleasure that transforms into the crushing weight of regret? Most people constantly negotiate with themselves. I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it when I feel motivated. I'll wait until conditions are perfect. In that negotiation, they surrender their power. They surrender their ability to win. Winners don't negotiate with themselves about the actions that align with their goals. They've already decided. The decision has been made in advance. That's the first element of being obsessed with winning. Eliminating the daily negotiation with yourself about whether you'll do what needs to be done. Have you noticed how much energy is drained in that internal debate? Should I make the call or not? Should I have that difficult conversation or not? Should I put in the extra hour or not? The obsessed don't waste energy on these questions. The decision loop is closed before the situation even arises. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is non-negotiable. What would your life look like if you stopped negotiating with yourself about the actions that lead to your vision? Let me share something profound with you. Winning isn't an event. It's a habit. It's a way of life. It's a series of small decisions made consistently over time. Consider this. If you improve just one each day for a year, you'll end up 37 times better by the end of that year. Not 365 better, 37 times better, because growth compounds when applied consistently. But most can't sustain it. They start strong, fueled by inspiration. Then reality sets in. The emotions fade, the work gets hard, and they retreat back to their comfort zone. Obsessed understand something the rest don't. Motivation is emotional, and emotions are unreliable. They come and go like the weather. You can't build an extraordinary life on such a shaky foundation. Instead, the obsessed build systems. They engineer their environment to make winning the path of least resistance. They eliminate options. They remove escape routes. Look at your phone right now. Is it designed to make you win, or is it designed to distract you? Look at your home, your office, your daily schedule. Are they architected for exceptional output or comfortable mediocrity? The obsessed aren't just motivated, they're strategic. They don't rely on willpower. They build worlds where excellence is inevitable. Ask yourself, have you designed your life for winning, or have you designed it for comfort? Most people don't want to hear this, but comfort and extraordinary achievement rarely coexist. The obsessed understand that discomfort is the currency of their dreams. They don't just tolerate discomfort. They seek it out, knowing it's the only path to growth. When you're truly obsessed with winning, with becoming the person you're capable of becoming, you realize that discomfort isn't something to avoid. It's something to embrace. It's feedback. It's a signal that you're pushing boundaries, that you're growing, that you're alive. But I need to clarify something important. Being obsessed with winning doesn't mean sacrificing everything else. It means being crystal clear about your priorities for this season of your life. The obsessed aren't workaholics neglecting their health and relationships. They're strategic about where they channel their finite energy. They understand that true winning encompasses all dimensions of life, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, relational, financial. What if winning meant becoming fully alive in every area that matters to you? What if winning meant becoming the truest, most alive version of yourself? Here's the tragic reality. Most people never discover what they're truly capable of. They live with a fraction of their potential untapped, settling for what's easy instead of stretching toward what's possible. They major in minor activities. They confuse motion with progress. They stay busy without being productive. The obsessed are different. They've mastered the art of elimination. They ruthlessly cut away anything that doesn't serve their vision. Have you taken inventory of how you spend your time, your energy, your attention? How much of it is investment, and how much is consumption? How much moves you toward your goals, and how much is merely distraction? The greatest asset you have isn't money. It's focus. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. What you concentrate on consistently is what you create more. Are you focusing on problems or solutions? On what's wrong or what's possible? On the past or the future you're building? The obsessed guard their mental real estate with fierce protection. They understand that their thoughts become their words become their actions become their habits become their character, and their character becomes their destiny. What thoughts are you allowing to rent space in your mind? Are they tenants that serve your vision or squatters that sabotage it? One of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself is this: what am I pretending not to know? We all have blind spots, areas where we're fooling ourselves, making excuses, avoiding responsibility. The obsessed seek out these blind spots not to beat themselves up, but to reclaim their power. Because when you stop pretending, when you face reality exactly as it is, not as you wish it were or fear it might be, you gain the ability to transform it. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions you ask yourself. Poor questions create a poor life. Powerful questions create a powerful life. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? The obsessed ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of asking, why don't I have enough time? They ask, how am I choosing to use the time I have? Instead of asking, why can't I achieve my goals? They ask, what systems do I need to put in place to make achievement inevitable? Questions you ask direct your focus, and your focus determines what you notice and what you miss. Have you considered that you might be blind to opportunities right in front of you because you're asking the wrong questions? The obsessed understand that winning isn't about having the right answers. It's about asking better questions. Questions that expand possibility rather than contract it. Questions that empower rather than victimize. What questions are you living inside of? Are they questions of lack and limitation, or questions of abundance and possibility? Remember this, your life moves in the direction of your most dominant thoughts. What do you think about most? What occupies your mind during those quiet moments when you're alone with yourself? The obsessed deliberately direct their thoughts toward their vision, not out wishful thinking, but strategic focus. They understand that attention is the most valuable currency in today's world, and they spend it wisely. Most people give their attention away freely to whatever screams loudest. The latest crisis, the newest distraction, the most recent notification. The obsessed protect their attention like the precious resource it is. Ask yourself honestly, who or what has your attention right now? Is it serving your highest vision or diverting you from it? Being obsessed with winning means reclaiming ownership of your attention and directing it with intent. But let's talk about something even more fundamental. Your beliefs about what's possible for you. Your actions will never exceed the boundaries of your beliefs. If you believe success is for other people but not for you, that belief will manifest as reality, not because it's true, but because you'll act in accordance with it. The obsessed examine their beliefs regularly, checking for limited thinking that might be constraining their actions. They actively seek evidence that expands their sense of what's possible. When they catch themselves thinking, I could never do that, they challenge it. Why not me? What if I could? What would need to be true for that to happen? They understand that belief isn't just positive thinking, it's a practice. You strengthen belief through consistent action, through promises kept to yourself, through small wins accumulated over time. What do you deeply believe about your potential? About what's possible for your life? Are these beliefs serving your highest vision or limiting it? The difference between where you are and where you want to be often comes down to the stories you tell yourself about what's possible. The obsessed rewrite these stories. They become the authors of their own narratives rather than passive characters in someone else's. This is how winning begins, by taking ownership of your story, your attention, your beliefs, your questions, your thoughts, and ultimately your actions. Because obsession without action is just daydreaming. The obsessed don't just think differently, they act differently, consistently, persistently. Winning isn't a lucky accident. It's the natural result of certain actions repeated day in, day out. Simple, but not easy. What actions, if you performed them consistently, would virtually guarantee your success? Have you identified them? Have you built your life around them? The obsessed don't wait for the perfect moment to act. They make this moment perfect by acting. They don't wait for the path to be clear before starting the journey. They start walking, and the path reveals itself with each step. How many opportunities have you missed because you were waiting for certainty? How many dreams remain unrealized because you wanted guarantees? The obsessed embrace uncertainty as the price of admission for an extraordinary life. They understand that the need for certainty is the enemy of growth, of progress, of winning. What if you acted today as if success were inevitable? What would you do differently? How would you carry yourself? What decisions would you make? The obsessed live from that place, not from arrogance, but from a deep internal knowing that their actions, accumulated over time, can't help but produce the results they seek. They understand something profound. Winning isn't something you do occasionally. It's someone you become permanently. And becoming happens daily, not in a day. It's the result of consistent choices that may seem insignificant in the moment, but compound over time to create transformation. What choices are you making daily that are shaping who you're becoming? Are they moving you toward your highest vision or away from it? The obsessed are intentional about every choice, knowing that each one is a vote for the person they're becoming. They don't leave their evolution to chance. But let me share something vital. Being obsessed with winning doesn't mean the absence of failure. It means using failure as fuel rather than allowing it to extinguish your fire. The obsessed reframe failure completely. They don't see it as evidence of their inadequacy, but as feedback on their approach. They don't internalize it as identity, I am a failure, but externalize it as information the attempt failed. This subtle shift changes everything. It transforms failure from something to be avoided at all costs to something to be embraced as essential for growth. Have you noticed how fear of failure keeps most people playing small? They avoid risks. They stick to what's safe. They never venture beyond their comfort zone. And in that safety, they sacrifice their potential. The obsessed understand that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of success. It's a necessary step on the path to mastery. What failures have you been avoiding? What risks have you been unwilling to take? What parts of your potential remain unexplored because you're afraid to fail? Imagine releasing that fear. Imagine pursuing your highest vision with the knowledge that failure is simply feedback, not final judgment. The obsessed live from that place. They fail more than most because they attempt more than most. And as attempts, they discover capacities within themselves that the majority never experience. But there's another crucial element to being obsessed with winning. Extreme ownership. The obsessed refuse to blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck for their results. They take complete responsibility for everything in their lives. Not from a place of blame, but from a place of power. Because when you take responsibility, you gain the ability to respond. You move from victim to creator, from passenger to driver. Most people give away their power by focusing on what they can't control. The economy, other people's opinions, the past. They use these as excuses for why they haven't achieved what they desire. The obsessed focus relentlessly on what they can control. their effort, their attitude, their response, their growth. They understand that while they can't always control what happens to them, they have absolute control over how they respond to what happens. Where in your life have you been giving away your power? Where have you been blaming external circumstances for your internal choices? Taking ownership doesn't mean beating yourself up for past mistakes. It means learning from them and making different choices moving forward. The obsessed don't waste energy on regret or resentment. They invest it in progress and growth. They understand something profound. Every moment presents a choice. You can step towards your vision or away from it. You can strengthen what you want or strengthen what you don't want. And these choices, made consistently over time, create your life. What choices will you make today? Will they reflect your highest vision or your temporary comfort? The obsessed choose vision over comfort, growth over stagnation, action over excuses, responsibility over blame. And in those choices, they create extraordinary lives. Not by accident, but by design. This is what it means to be obsessed with winning. To be so clear about what you want that you'll do whatever it takes to achieve it. Not from a place of desperate striving, but from a place of aligned action. Because here's something most people miss. People mere truly align with your deepest values and highest vision. The actions required don't feel like sacrifice. They feel like integrity. The obsessed don't force themselves to take action. They align themselves so deeply with their vision that action becomes the natural expression of who they are. Have you experienced this alignment? This sense of I'm doing this not because I should, but because it's who I am? That's the sweet spot. That's where sustainable obsession lives, not in white-knuckled discipline, but in aligned identity. When your actions flow from your identity, rather than fighting against it, you've discovered the secret to lasting motivation. The obsessed don't say, I'm trying to exercise more. They say, I'm an athlete, and athletes train consistently. They don't say, I'm trying to build a business. They say, I'm an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurs solve problems persistently. They don't say, I'm trying to be more present with my family. They say, I'm a fully engaged parent partner, and fully engaged parents partners give their complete attention. Do you see the difference? One comes from effort. The other comes from identity. This isn't about pretending. It's about growing into the next version of yourself, the version that achieves what your current self desires. What version of yourself do you need to become to achieve your vision? What qualities, beliefs, and habits does that version embody? The obsessed aren't content to remain as they are. They're constantly evolving, growing, expanding. They understand that the greatest gift of achievement isn't what you get, but who you become in the process. And that becoming is available to you right now, not someday, not when conditions are perfect. The obsessed don't wait for permission to grow. They don't wait for the perfect coach, the perfect program, the perfect opportunity. They start with what they have, where they are creating momentum through immediate action. What immediate action could you take today that would move you towards your vision? Not tomorrow. The obsessed understand that motion creates emotion. Action precedes motivation, not the other way around. If you wait until you feel ready, you might wait forever. The obsessed act before they feel ready, knowing that readiness comes through action, not before it. What have you been waiting to feel ready for? What if you acted today despite not feeling ready? This is the mindset of the obsessed. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They create progress with whatever conditions exist. They understand that time will pass regardless of what they do. The question is, where will you be when that time passes? Will you be closer to your vision or still standing in the same place? The obsessed make time their ally rather than their enemy. They don't rush frantically, but they don't waste a moment either. They understand that while achievement takes time, time alone doesn't guarantee achievement. It's what you do with that time that matters. How are you using your time? Is it moving you towards your vision or merely filling your days? The obsessed use time strategically, investing it rather than spending it, focusing on high leverage activities that produce exponential rather than incremental results. They understand that not all actions are created equal. Some move the needle significantly while others merely create the illusion of progress. Have you identified the 20 of actions that will produce 80 of your results? Are you focusing your energy there, or are you scattered across low-impact activities? The obsessed eliminate ruthlessly, focusing only on what truly matters for their vision. They say no to good opportunities so they can say yes to great ones. What do you need to eliminate from your life to create space for what truly matters? What good things might you need to sacrifice for great things? The obsessed aren't afraid of these hard choices. They make them willingly, knowing that clarity of purpose demands clarity of action. They understand that winning requires concentration of force, focusing your energy on a few key areas rather than dispersing it across many. Where could you create breakthrough results? By concentrating your energy rather than dispersing it. The obsessed create this concentration naturally because they're clear about what matters most to them. Their values and visions serve as filters, automatically sorting what deserves their attention from what doesn't. Do you have this level of clarity? Do you know exactly what you're working toward and why it matters deeply to you? Without this clarity, obsession becomes directionless energy, intense but ineffective. With clarity, obsession becomes a laser beam, cutting through obstacles with precision and power. The obsessed don't just work hard. They work with direction, purpose, and meaning. Their effort isn't random. It's targeted. Is your effort targeted or scattered? Are you moving with clear direction or just staying busy? The obsessed eliminate busyness from their lives, replacing it with purposeful productivity. They don't measure their worth by hours worked, but by results. They understand that winning isn't about doing more things. It's about doing the right things more consistently. What are the right things for your vision? Have you identified them clearly? Are you doing them consistently? They understand that systems trump willpower every time. Willpower fluctuates. What systems could you create that would make your success inevitable rather than optional? What routines could you establish that would automatically move you towards your vision? The obsessed engineer their lives for winning. They leave nothing to chance that they can. This strategic approach separates them from those who rely on motivation alone. Motivation is the spark, but systems are the fuel that keeps the fire burning. Have you been relying too heavily on motivation? How could you supplement it with systems that work even when motivation doesn't? The obsessed create these systems not because they lack discipline, but because they want to direct their discipline toward the highest leverage activities rather than wasting it on routine decisions. They automate what can be automated so they can innovate where innovation matters. Where in your life could you automate decisions to free up mental energy for more important matters? The obsessed protect their mental energy fiercely, knowing it's their most precious resource for creating extraordinary results. They understand that excellence is impossible without energy management. They prioritize sleep, nutrition, exercise, and recovery not as separate from their goals, but as essential foundations for achieving them. Are you managing your energy with the same intentionality as your time? Are you creating the physical foundation necessary for sustained excellence? The obsessed don't sacrifice health for achievement, recognizing that without health, all achievement loses meaning. They play the long game, building sustainable practices that allow them to maintain their obsession without burning out. Are you playing the long game or seeking short-term results at the expense of long-term sustainability? The obsessed think in decades, not days. They make decisions based on who they want to be 10 years from now, not just who they want to be tomorrow. This long-term perspective changes everything. It transforms how they respond to setbacks how they invest their resources, how they measure progress. What decisions would you make differently if you were thinking 10 years ahead rather than 10 days or 10 months? The obsessed use this long-term vision to guide their daily actions, creating congruence between their ultimate aspirations and their immediate choices. The obsessed create this alignment consciously, regularly checking that their actions are leading toward their vision rather than away from it. They understand that small deviations, maintained over time, lead to massive divergence from their intended destination. Are you course correcting regularly, or have you been drifting off path? The obsessed check their coordinates frequently, making small adjustments before they become major detours. They understand that the path to winning isn't a straight line, but a series of adjustments based on feedback and results. How responsive are you to feedback? How quickly do you adjust when something isn't working? The obsessed don't persist in ineffective strategies out of pride or stubbornness. They're committed to their vision, but flexible about their approach. They understand that winning often requires experimentation, iteration, and learning from what doesn't work to discover what does. Are you experimenting enough? Are you willing to fail small and fast to learn what works? The obsessed create rapid feedback loops, constantly testing, measuring, and refining their approach based on results rather than assumptions. They don't get attached to methods, only to outcomes. If something isn't producing the desired result, they change it without hesitation or emotion. Where have you become attached to methods rather than outcomes? What approaches might you need to release because they're not producing results? How adaptable are you? How quickly can you pivot when circumstances change? The obsessed develop this adaptability through constant growth and learning. They never assume they have all the answers. They remain perpetual students, always seeking to expand their understanding and capabilities. Are you actively seeking knowledge and skills that will help you achieve your vision? Are you investing in your growth consistently? The obsessed make learning a daily practice, not an occasional event. They understand that in a world of exponential change, those who aren't constantly learning are falling behind. What are you learning right now that will help you win tomorrow? The obsessed are perpetually uncomfortable because they're perpetually growing. They embrace the discomfort of not knowing, of being a beginner, of making mistakes while learning. Have you become too comfortable? Are you stretching beyond what you already know and can? The obsessed seek this stretch deliberately, knowing it's the only path to expanded capacity. They understand that comfort is the enemy of growth, and growth is essential for winning. Where do you need to embrace discomfort to achieve your next level of growth? The obsessed lean into these uncomfortable spaces willingly, not because they enjoy discomfort, but because they're more committed to growth than to comfort. They understand that temporary discomfort leads to permanent expansion, while temporary comfort often leads to permanent limitation. Which are you choosing more often, temporary discomfort for permanent expansion, or temporary comfort for permanent limitation? The obsessed choose expansion consistently, knowing that each choice compounds over time to create their ultimate results. They're playing a game of accumulation, accumulating the right actions, the right decisions, the right responses day after day, year after year. Are you accumulating actions that lead to winning or actions that lead to mediocrity? The obsessed accumulate winning actions relentlessly, knowing that consistency compounds. They understand that extraordinary results don't come from occasional excellence, but from excellence as a standard operating procedure. Have you made excellence your standard operating procedure, or is it something you visit occasionally? The obsessed live in excellence as a practice, not a performance. It's who they are, not just what they do when they feel inspired or when others are. This integration of excellence into identity is what makes their obsession sustainable. It's not forced. It's expressed naturally as an extension of who they've become. Who have you become? Does that identity naturally express the actions required for your vision, or are you constantly fighting against yourself? The obsessed have aligned their identity with their aspirations, creating internal congruence that generates power rather than resistance. This alignment is available to you right now, not through magical thinking, but through conscious choice and consistent action. You become the person capable of winning by acting like that person today. Tomorrow and the next day until it's no longer an act, but your authentic expression. Are you willing to make that choice? Are you willing to act from your future self rather than your past self? The obsessed make this choice daily. They step into their highest vision of themselves, not as a distant goal, but as a present practice. And in that practice, they discover that winning isn't something that happens to them someday in the future. It's something they're creating right now, in this moment, through their choices, their focus, their actions. This is what it means to be obsessed with winning. To be so completely aligned with your highest vision that every action naturally flows toward its realization, not from grinding effort or bitter sacrifice, but from the joyful expression of who you truly are and what you're here to create. Are you ready to embrace that level of alignment? Are you ready to become obsessed, not with what the world calls winning, but with what winning means for you? The choice is yours. It always has been. What will you choose?